Offspring have announced a huge summer tour for this year with Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory on the bill. This is actually really, really cool. It's going to be called Supercharged Worldwide in 25. It's going to be going 34 dates this summer. The general on sale, the pre-sale actually is already happening right now on Ticketmaster and on ticket outlets. But the general on sale for this tour is going to be this Friday, March the 7th. So if you want to buy tickets, that's when it's going to be happening. And the tour is going to kick off in West Palm Beach, Florida on July the 11th, and it's going to wrap up in Denver, Colorado on September the 7th. And I was actually thinking this is a pretty good lineup. As far as the Offspring go, I'm a moderate Offspring fan. I wouldn't say I'm a diehard Offspring fan, but going back to Smash in 1994, I've listened to the Offspring for a very long time. They were one of those go-to bands when I was growing up. A lot of my friends when I was growing up were huge fans of the Offspring. So I really, do enjoy a lot of their music. And their latest album, Supercharged, was decent. There were some pretty good songs on there. I found the new album to be a good mix of kind of old school Offspring kind of punk sound from the 90s, and then the more what I guess would be like the sellout Offspring sound, which is more like the pretty fly for a white guy thing. But it's actually not too bad. So if you haven't checked out that new album from the Offspring, which came out back in the fall of 2024, it's definitely worth checking out. So that's pretty cool that they're going to be headlining this tour. But for me, the more exciting bands on this bill are definitely Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory, bands that I am a much bigger fan of those bands than I am of the Offspring. And this is an absolute stacked lineup. As far as Jimmy Eat World goes, it's been quiet for them. Their last studio album, Surviving, came out in 2019. I thought that was a really great record, a really great Jimmy Eat World record. And I'm still waiting for a follow-up from them. I'm surprised that we actually haven't gotten a follow-up album from Jimmy Eat World. We're going on 6 years since Surviving came out. They have put out some material in the intervening years. They put out I think it was called Something Loud, which came out last year or the year before, as well as I think it was called Place Your Debts was another song that they released over the last couple of years. So it hasn't been completely, we haven't been completely deprived of new Jimmy Eat World music, but we haven't really gotten a lot from them in the last 6 years, although they've been hitting the road. So I guess they've been doing lots of touring, and maybe we'll get a new album from Jimmy Eat World at some point in this year or next year. But then Newfound Glory, also very cool that they're going to be playing this tour as well. I really like kind of like modern Newfound Glory. I like a lot of the stuff that they put out in the early 2000s when they hit the scene. But one of my favorite Newfound Glory records is Resurrection, which came out in 2014. It's hard to believe it's been already like over a decade since that record came out. Absolutely love that record, Resurrection. I love the follow-up to that as well, Makes Me Sick. I thought those were two really, really great Newfound Glory records, but I wasn't as a huge fan of their last record. The name of the last record kind of escapes me, but they've stayed very active, Newfound Glory, over the last decade or so, or like 20 years plus now. They've been active as a band, continue to put out really good music. So really cool that Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory are going to be on this tour along with the Offspring. And the thing is, sometimes with these package tours, when you get 3 or 4 bands on a solid bill that go, on tour across the country, they don't really have a strong lineup all the way through. Sometimes the opening bands might be so-so compared to the headliner band, but this is actually a really, really good lineup, and I'm actually really tempted to buy tickets myself. So I went on Ticketmaster.com or .ca for us Canadians, and I checked out the prices for the July 23rd show at the Budweiser Stage in Toronto. Budweiser Stage is like the go-to summer festival or summer venue for these concerts. It's an open air, kind of like half covered, half open venue in Toronto. The covered part is over most of the seats, and then they have a huge lawn area at the back of the venue, which is awesome. I've seen so many shows at the Budweiser Stage. The last one I saw was back in August of last year. I went to see Deep Purple at the Budweiser Stage. I've seen Oasis there. I've seen Foo Fighters there. Budweiser Stage is a really great kind of go-to summer venue for a lot of bands when they come to Toronto in the summer. So July 23rd at the Budweiser Stage. I was taking a look at the ticket prices, and they're not bad. Okay, so look at this. $70 for lawns, which is, again, general admission. If it rains, you're going to be totally screwed on the lawns. You're going to get rained on. But otherwise, it's very, very cool to watch a show on the lawns at Budweiser Stage. I've seen a lot of shows. I saw Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds there 2 summers ago on the lawns. Had a great time, aside from some of the annoying fans who were singing louder than Noel, but I digress on that one. But $70 for lawns, which is pretty good. When you think about this bill, Offspring, Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory, you think about this bill, $70 to go on the lawns. You can smoke on the lawns. You can drink on the lawns. It's actually a pretty good deal. And then $80 for a lot of the seated parts of the Budweiser stage, which is, again, pretty good when you consider the caliber or the popularity of these three bands on the bill. But then if you want to get the general admission floor at Budweiser stage, it's going to be $300 and upwards for that. So that's a lot. I've seen a lot of shows at the floor at Budweiser stage as well. I guess if it's worth it, if you really, really want to be up close, this isn't really the type of show where I'm like, I got to be front row for this. I got to be general admission for this. Definitely don't feel like I have to do that for this. I would sit back on the lawns and just enjoy this show just as much as I was if I was up front for this one. But if you want to get the VIP, everybody's doing the VIP thing now. If you go see bands, you get the VIP with the exclusive merch, and you get to go buy the merch earlier than everybody else and just buy things, I think, generally earlier than other people. VIP for this show is going to run you $500. That's 500 bones to go to this show for the VIP and maybe get a meet and greet with some of the bands, which would be pretty cool. So, but not a bad price for these concerts for this bill. But the thing is, it's so annoying as a music fan. As somebody like me who loves going to concerts, I've seen so many concerts over the course of my life so far. And it's just, I used to be able to go see multiple shows per year, whether it be at Budweiser stage or Scotiabank Arena or wherever in Toronto, some of those big venues. I used to be able to go to multiple concerts over the course of a year, but because these things are so expensive nowadays, so unbelievably expensive, it's really only one or two concerts that I go to per year. I got a couple of tickets this year. Of course, I got my Oasis tickets to go see them at Rogers Stadium, which is a venue that doesn't exist yet, by the way. Kind of nervous about that, but I got my Oasis tickets for later on this summer at the end of August. And then I have some tickets to go see Stereophonics at Massey Hall in Toronto coming up in a couple of weeks on March 22nd. But I wanted to go to some other shows. When I saw this one come up, I'm like, that could be good. I was talking to my girlfriend, Danielle. We're like, hey, this could be a fun one. We want to go to more shows. We want to go to more concerts. But then what if there's something else that comes up that I want to go to more? That's really the hardest thing to decide on. I've already spent a fair bit of money to go see Oasis, a fair bit of money to go see Stereophonics. And so going to see multiple concerts a year or more than 3 or 4 concerts a year, like I used to when I was younger, if I went to this venue, it used to be called the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto. If I went to a show at the Molson Amphitheater or went to shows there back when I used to go back like 20, 25 years ago, it would have been a lot cheaper and I could see a lot of shows, but it's not so much the case anymore. But I'm like seriously tempted because Offspring would be great. I would still stick around for their set, but I really want to see Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. I've seen most of the bands that I love, most of my favorite bands that I've loved over my life. I've seen them live, right? But Jimmy Eat World, who's always been one of my favorite, maybe not top 5 or top 10, maybe in the top 15 or my top 20 favorite bands of all time. Jimmy Eat World is one of those, and I've never seen them live. Even though they come here to Hamilton, they play Toronto all the time. I've never seen Jimmy Eat World live aside from buying tickets to some of their live streams that they were doing when they were playing their albums in full during the COVID era. So that was kind of fun, but I've never seen them in the flesh, and this would be definitely very, very cool to go see Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory, and the Offspring. So if you're interested in going to that yourself, you can buy tickets. The pre-sales happening right now for all the various fan pre-sales and the American Express pre-sale and the Google and the Amazon and the whatever pre-sale. But the general on sale for us normies is going to be happening this Friday, March the 7th. So if you want to get tickets, that's when it's going to be happening for the Offspring, Jimmy Eat World, and Newfound Glory, the Supercharged Worldwide in 25 tour. 34 dates. It's going to be cool. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this tour. Is this something that interests you? Would you be going to rush to buy tickets when they go on sale for the general public this Friday? You can let me know in the comments below.